Welcome in to another day and another lesson in A Course in Miracles. We just completed together, went through lesson 21. I am determined to see things differently. And now we're moving into lesson 22. What I see is a form of vengeance. So let's take a moment to be in the moment by connecting, breathing, and just allowing ourselves to be in the present. So closing your eyes or settling your gaze. And just choosing a form of breath that feels good for you for today. And seeing if you can slow it down and lengthen both the inhale and the exhale. Bringing your full attention to the breath. Bringing yourself to be fully right here, right now. Taking 3 more breaths at your own pace. And as you're ready, gently bringing your attention back to the space. As we get into our lesson for today, which is what I see as a form of vengeance. That idea, today's idea, the way you see as a form of vengeance, accurately describes the way anyone who holds attack thoughts in their mind must see the world. And why is that? Because having projected the anger out onto the world, then what we see is vengeance about to strike. The vengeance is about to strike at me, about to strike at us. In the lesson, it's using the term of him, but I feel like it's, I want to change the terminology so it brings it to us, right? So our own attack is thus perceived as self-defense, right? We project our anger out into the world. We see vengeance that's about to strike, right, at us, and therefore our own attack is just perceived as self-defense. This becomes an increasingly vicious cycle until we are willing to change how we see. Otherwise, thoughts of attack and counterattack are going to preoccupy us and the people in the entire world. What peace of mind is possible to us then? It is from this savage fantasy that we want to escape. You want to escape from this savage fantasy. Is it not joyous news to hear that it is not real? Is it not a happy discovery to find that you can escape? You made what you would destroy, everything that you hate and would attack and kill. All that you fear does not exist. Look at the world about you at least 5 times today for at least a minute each time. And as your eyes move slowly from one object to another, from one body to another, say to yourself, I see only the perishable. I see nothing that will last. What I see is not real. What I see is a form of vengeance. And at the end of each practice period, ask yourself, is this the world I really want to see? The answer is surely obvious. So you have to let me know what your thoughts are on this. I mean, I'm thinking for this minute exercise, since there's more to be said than typical, I'm happy to kind of be looking around and say it so you can follow along with me saying it out loud. But of course, if you're following along, you have it in the book, you have it in your app. Just write a comment below if it's more helpful for me to share it and to be repeating that throughout this minute, or if it's helpful if we just engage in silence for you to do your own practice. But for this time, we're gonna play around with me adding the words to it as we go along, but you'll be looking around at your own space, okay? I see only the perishable. I see nothing that will last. What I see is not real. What I see is a form of vengeance. I see only the perishable. I see nothing that will last. What I see is not real. What I see is a form of vengeance. And let's just take a moment to ask ourselves, is this the world I really want to see? Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing this study with me. I have such gratitude at this process at the beginning of this year. We are just, hardly 3 weeks into this. And I know I could add, we're done with our practice, so feel free to tune off if you don't want the little note at the end. I've been studying A Course in Miracles for 10 years. I know I could add interpretation. I know I could add interpretation from what I've read in the text, from what I've read in the Manual for Teachers, from my own personal experiences. I know there's a lot of interpretation that I can add. What I have felt really guided to do is to let the truth reveal itself. Similar to how I work a 12-step program, I've been in recovery, or I guess this time of recovery since January 1st of 2011. And it's not the right path for everyone. This isn't a PSA about that, but the point is that they're in order for a reason. They're in order for a reason. If people who just got sober after kind of struggling and burning their lives to the ground were like, hey, first things first, go make amends. Go out there, go out into the world and go make everything right. No, that is the 9th step for a reason. And if you enter into it too prematurely, it can actually cause more harm, both to the person who's wanting to make those amends as well as to those who are, meant to receive them. There's a whole process of uncovering. There's a whole process that shows up first. And I feel like it's the same way with the lessons. I'm upset because, I'm never upset for the reason I think. And yeah, I could go into interpretation about that, but in a day or two, it's going to say it's because I see only the past. And so it's revealing itself over the course of a year-long commitment. And I understand that not everybody's going to be able to commit to this year-long process. The only commitment I'm making is to myself and that I'm going to show up daily. It's even been a miracle that I really had this plan that I was going to get like 5 or 10 lessons ahead. So I had this buffer room, and it's like, no, I am right here along it with you, going through a lesson a day and letting it slowly reveal itself and build for me as well. And so that's what I want to share. That's what I want to be a part of with you, is the trust. I don't have to understand what any of this means right now. All I have to trust is, am I willing to show up to the lesson today, that I'm at least going to get one practice done with you guys, and hopefully I'll go through some of the other practice periods. Today it's saying 5, if I'm remembering correctly. Yep, at least 5 times today for a minute each time. The only thing I'm working on is trusting my own willingness, but also knowing that it's building. And if I show up and I engage, and if I use the ideas, their use is going to show them the meaning and reveal that it's true. So grateful to be joining with you. Yes, I could add a lot of interpretation, but I honestly think A Course in Miracles does a really beautiful job. The thing is if you only catch it on one day, maybe there's not much you're going to get out of it, because there's an entire text. There's also like all the lessons build on each other. So I'm not saying, it says if you really understood any part of it, you could generalize it and really, have a huge shift in perception, a change in reality, just off of truly understanding one of these ideas. So I'm not saying that you can't get a lot out of one idea. I am just saying that I know that there's a lot that's going to happen during this process and this journey of this year of the 365, and I want the book and the lessons to reveal itself to us as we go through it. So sending so much love, and I look forward to joining with you tomorrow, and I'm sorry if the lighting is weird.